Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Welcome to Ask Rob and Rob. It's that time again. We've got more questions and more answers coming up. We've got a couple of really interesting ones this week. So we're not going to leave you waiting long till you can hear those, but it is worth, first of all, giving you a quick reminder of how to send in your own wonderful question.
Yes, you can go to our lovely shiny website, propertyhub.net/ask, and leave a message there. Or you can call this very special number, which will then mean that in the office, a big red phone will light up and no one will answer and it'll get sent to a voicemail. But that's all you need to do. You call 013-808-00035 and you will get to that very special voicemail.
Hi Rob and Rob, it's Terry from Luton here. Love the podcast, by the way, it's really helpful. My question is about the South East. Now I know you're big fans of up north. Do you think the cycle has moved enough to start considering the South East again? I've got my eye on a few places in Ipswich and just wanted to know your thoughts on the South East in general. Thanks a lot.
Hey Terry, thank you for your question. And this is really interesting because I've been talking a lot about this to the team in Property Hub recently, at least the team that work on deals. And the South East, London and surrounding areas, it's definitely back on our radar. We're keeping an eye on it and we're starting to do our research and put the feelers out there for potential opportunities. Don't get me wrong, we're not up in sticks and moving all our energies away from the places we've talked about so frequently on the podcast over the last few years. Far from it. But just like we were early to places like Manchester and Birmingham and Leeds and Liverpool, and we told you about it, I think we're going to be early again for London and the South East when we start going back there more actively. Now, we're not there yet, but it's definitely on our radar because this is just a general investment lesson, whether it's property or anything else, is that when something isn't popular, when something isn't cool, when people are ignoring an investment asset and a type of investment that's solid, it's not a volatile investment, something that has performed well in the past, but for some reason it's not sexy or cool anymore, then that's what I want to know more about it. So I'm sure there are opportunities right now in the South East. And I'm also sure that most people aren't looking there. And I also know, emotionally and logically, it's a lot easier to invest in places like Sheffield, Derby, Liverpool, Leeds, Manchester, etc. right now, because those areas are doing really well or just started to do really well. You can see the value there, but it doesn't mean you should ignore other areas. Now, the great thing is, if you're a regular listener to the podcast, we're going to talk about this and areas that are catching our attention in the new year, when we give you our hotspots for 2022, and that isn't that far away. So if you can remain calm till then, we'll give you more information then and give us more chance to develop our thoughts on our investment strategy for next year. So thank you for the question. It's quite timely because a lot of work has started to happen in the background now. So we'll bring you more on that in the new year.
Let's see what David is up to.
Hi Rob and Rob, this is David. I've been listening to your podcast and really appreciate it. It's been really helpful. I've got a couple of buy-to-lets now and I'm looking for another. And I keep looking at leasehold flats with leases on them of about 90 years, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but it kind of concerns me. And my question is on these leases, then should it concern me? Now I understand I will have to renew the lease at some point in the future, and it's going to cost a few £1,000s. So my question is to you, to what extent should it concern me? And how obvious is it that I can renew that lease with ease and it is going to be standard? There's very little information that I can find how easy it will be and if those costs will run away with themselves. So any information you can provide would be wonderful. How standardized it is, how simple it would be, how easy those costs could run away themselves. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.
David, a good question that is difficult to give an exact answer to, but I'll give you a few pointers that might help. So you've said that you're looking at flats with leases of about 90 years, and that is good because with leases, the magic number is 80. When there are 80 or fewer years left on a lease, extending it becomes much more expensive. This is because of something called marriage value, which I won't get into, but the gist of it is it ends up costing you a load more money. So you need to be starting the process of extending your lease because it's the starting point that matters before there are 80 years left. So if you're buying something with 90 years left, well, then you've got 10 years to sort it out. So that's fine. How much will it cost? That is a tough one. And the unhelpful answer is the only way to actually know for sure is to do it, which doesn't help you out when you're trying to buy. But there is a tool that you can use, which is a calculator put out by the Leasehold Advisory Service. So if you go to lease-advice.org/calculator, you will find their lease extension calculator, which will ask you what the property is going to be worth after the lease has been extended, which obviously you're just going to have to estimate. It's going to ask you how long is left on the lease, and it's going to ask you for your current ground rent. If you put those three pieces of information in, it'll give you its best estimate of how much the lease extension will cost. It is, however, just an estimate because ultimately you'll need to get the property properly valued and you'll need to engage a solicitor who will negotiate the matter with the landlord's solicitor. But hopefully that calculator will give you enough information to know whether it is a purchase that you're interested in proceeding with and to work out if you're being compensated enough for buying a flat with a shorter lease rather than a longer one with, say, 150 years remaining, where it's just not going to become an issue for a long, long time. It is worth saying that at some point soon, apparently, eventually, all of this is going to change. There's going to be a far easier, clearer, cheaper way of extending leases, and the marriage value concept is going to go away, so 80 won't be the magic number anymore. So keep listening to the Property Podcast because we, of course, will cover those developments as they happen. But for now, hopefully, that gives you the information you need.
So thank you for your questions and thank you for listening. We'll be back on Thursday with the Property Podcast and, of course, back next week with Ask Rob and Rob. So until then, take care, have fun, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.